Hello, I'm standing here in County Antrim with the wonderful Slemish mountain behind me. Now Slemish is a famous place in our history, for that's where St Patrick himself was brought to work as a slave. From here he escaped, went over to France and eventually brought Christianity back to Ireland. Now St Patrick is famous for many things, including banishing the snakes from Ireland. And I'd like to tell you that story, as written by a dear old friend of mine, the late Crawford Howard, as to how St Patrick banished the snakes. You've heard of the snakes in Australia. You've likely heard of the snakes in Japan. You've heard of the rattler, that old Texas battler whose bite can mean death to a man. They've even got snakes in England. Nasty adders, all yellow and black. But in Erin's Green Isle, we can say with a smile, they're away. They're not coming back. Now, years ago, things were quite different. There were serpents all over the place. If you climbed up a ladder, you might meet an adder, or a cobra might leap at your face. If you went for a walk up the Shankill, or a dander along Sandy Row, a flaming great python would likely come writhing and take a lump out of your toe. Then along came a man called St Patrick, a preacher of fame and renown. He hoisted his sails. He came over from Wales to convert all the heathens in Down. Now he hurtled about through the country with a cloak and a big pointy hat. He kept a few sheep that he sold on the cheap, but there's no money in that. He was preaching a sermon in Cumber, and he was getting quite carried away. And he mentioned that Rome had once been his home, and that was the wrong thing to say. For he felt a sharp pain in his cheekbone. He stuck up a hand to his bake, and the thing that had lit on his gubbin had bit was a wee Presbyterian snake. Now the snake slithered down from the pulpit, expecting St Patrick to die. Your man was no dozer. He lifted his crozier and he belted the snake in the eye. And he said to the snake, "Listen, Legos, you've better take yourself off. If you think that that trick will work with St Patrick, you must be far worse than they're daft." Now the snake slithered home in a temper, gathered his friends all around, said, "Listen, mates, time we got on our skates. I reckon it's time to leave town. It's no fun when you bite a big geezer. You sit back, you expect him to die, and he's that bloomin' quick with on big pointy stick that he hits you a dig in the eye." So a strange sight confronted St Patrick when he looked out the very next day. Snakes with long faces were packing their cases, heading for Donegal Quay. Some got on cheap flights to Mallorca. Others booked apartments in Spain. They were all heading out, and there wasn't a doubt they weren't coming back there again. So the reason the snakes all left Ireland, this is no word of a lie. They all went to places to bite people's faces and be reasonably sure that they'd die. So the old snakes still caution their grandsons, "For heaven's sake, beware of St Pat. Take yourself off if you see his big staff, or his cloak, or his big pointy hat." Crawford Howard.